In the grim darkness of the far future, where war is unending and survival is a luxury, humanity's champions stand as towering symbols of strength, endurance, and loyalty: the Space Marines. Known as the Adeptus Astartes, these superhuman warriors are the emperor of mankind's ultimate weapon, forged in the fires of genetic engineering and unyielding discipline. They are not born but made, shaped by a brutal and meticulous process that transforms ordinary humans into demigods of war. The path to becoming one of these formidable Legionnaires is a perilous journey few survive, but those who do ascend to heights of physical and mental perfection unmatched in the galaxy. This transformation is not just a test of body and will. It is a sacred rite carried out by the chapters, the tightly knit brotherhoods that form the Adeptus Astartes. Each chapter's recruitment process reflects its unique culture, traditions, and the genetic legacy of its primarch, the gene sire of the chapter's lineage. Despite these variations, one constant binds all chapters. The process is an unforgiving crucible designed to ensure only the strongest, most loyal, and genetically compatible individuals ascend to the rank of Space Marine. But why is this transformation necessary? The galaxy is not a kind place. Xenos hordes like the Orcs and Tyranids press against humanity's borders, while heretics and chaos cults rot its core. Ordinary humans cannot stand against such foes. Even the best-trained Imperial Guard regiments armed with courage and firepower often falter against the overwhelming odds of the 41st millennium. The Imperium requires warriors who are not merely human but superhuman, capable of enduring the rigors of constant warfare and enacting the Emperor's will with unwavering determination. Thus, the Space Marines are not only humanity's defenders, but its shield and sword against annihilation. The story of how Space Marines recruit their Legionnaires is as complex and storied as the Imperium itself. This process is more than the induction of a warrior. It is a meticulous orchestration of selection, testing, genetic manipulation, and indoctrination. Each step is fraught with peril, and for every recruit who ascends to the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes, hundreds die or are discarded. It is a grim reflection of the Imperium's motto: strength must be earned through sacrifice. To understand the recruitment of the Space Marines, one must delve into the traditions of the chapters, the dark science of gene seed implantation, and the brutal trials that separate the weak from the worthy. From the barren wastelands of Fenris to the suffocating depths of Necromundan hive cities, each chapter's recruitment reflects its own ethos and challenges. The Space Wolves demand feral cunning and raw strength, while the Ultramarines prize discipline and tactical acumen. The Blood Angels, cursed with a genetic flaw, seek recruits with inner strength to resist the allure of the Red Thirst. These traditions are not merely practical, they are spiritual rites, connecting the chapters to their primarchs and the Emperor himself. As we journey through the process that creates the Emperor's Angels of Death, we will explore the key players who shape this brutal transformation, the historical and genetic preconditions that make it possible, and the trials that forge ordinary men into superhuman warriors. The story of Space Marine recruitment is a testament to the Imperium's resilience, but it is also a chilling reminder of the cost of survival in a galaxy where hope is a fleeting shadow and only strength endures. This is the tale of how the Adeptus Astartes replenish their ranks, ensuring their eternal vigilance against the enemies of mankind. A tale of sacrifice, unyielding discipline, and a grim determination to survive. Welcome to the heart of the Space Marines recruitment, a saga of transformation, triumph, and tragedy. In the early days of the Imperium, when the Emperor of Mankind led his armies across the galaxy during the Great Crusade, the process of creating warriors for the nascent Legiones Astartes was both monumental and experimental. Each of the original Space Marine legions was crafted with a specific purpose in mind, tailored to excel in distinct forms of warfare. However, this specialization extended beyond their methods of combat. It also influenced the way new warriors were recruited into their ranks. The recruitment process was shaped by the genetic traits of the Legion's warriors, the environment from which they hailed, and the demands of the Emperor's grand vision for humanity's unification. In those formative years, the primary pool of recruits for the Legions was drawn from Terra itself. The post-apocalyptic wasteland of old Earth was a crucible of suffering and resilience, its scattered populations hardened by millennia of war and strife. The Emperor's conquest of Terra during the Unification Wars brought these disparate tribes under his control, and their best warriors were inducted into the newly created Legionnaires Astartes. Many of these early recruits were already seasoned fighters, veterans of endless clan wars and battles against techno-barbarian warlords. They became the foundation upon which the legions were built, their physical and psychological toughness providing fertile ground for the genetic augmentations that would transform them into transhuman warriors. As the Great Crusade expanded beyond Terra, the need for new recruits grew exponentially. The Emperor's armies marched across countless star systems, and the legions needed a constant influx of fresh warriors to replace those lost in battle. To meet this demand, recruitment practices evolved, drawing on the vast diversity of the human populations scattered across the galaxy. Each legion began to establish recruitment methods tailored to its specific character and genetic requirements, often selecting aspirants from worlds that mirrored their particular strengths and ethos. The methods employed by some of the earliest legions offer insight into how their unique recruitment practices took shape. For example, the warriors of a certain legion known for its ferocity and instinctual prowess often sought recruits from feral worlds where survival demanded raw strength and cunning. Their aspirants were typically drawn from tribes of hunters and warriors, individuals who had already proven their mettle by enduring the relentless dangers of their homeworlds. The trials these recruits faced were brutal, often involving lethal combat against both fellow aspirants and the deadly predators that roamed their planet. Other legions, known for their methodical and disciplined approach to warfare, preferred recruits from hive cities, massive urban sprawls where survival demanded intellect, resourcefulness, and adaptability. In these labyrinthine environments, aspirants were often drawn from underhive gangs or the ranks of desperate survivors. The recruitment process here was no less ruthless. Candidates were pitted against each other in tests of endurance, tactical acumen, and unyielding determination. Only those who demonstrated exceptional leadership and resilience were selected for transformation. One of the most distinctive examples of recruitment during the early Great Crusade was a legion that sought recruits from feudal worlds, where societies were structured around strict hierarchies and martial traditions. These worlds often produced aspirants who were already skilled in the art of war, their upbringing steeped in notions of honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. The trials they faced emphasized these values, ensuring that only those who could embody the Legion's ideals were deemed worthy of induction. Over time, as the Legions developed their own cultures and traditions, their recruitment practices became even more specialized. Some legions developed rituals and rites of passage unique to their heritage, imbuing the process with a sense of sacred duty. For instance, one legion was known to test its aspirants' ability to endure pain and hardship through grueling endurance trials in hostile environments, while another demanded acts of self-sacrifice to prove a recruit's devotion to their comrades and cause. Despite the diversity in methods, one constant remained. The process was unforgiving. For every aspirant who survived the trials and the subsequent genetic augmentation, countless others perished. Yet this was deemed a necessary sacrifice to ensure the purity and strength of the Legionnaires Astartes. The galaxy was an unforgiving place, and only the strongest, most resilient individuals could hope to endure the trials of transformation and the rigors of war that awaited them. These early recruitment practices set the tone for the traditions that would define the Adeptus Astartes for millennia to come. As the legions grew and evolved, their methods became codified into sacred rituals, reflecting the unique characteristics of each force. Even after the tumultuous events that fractured the Imperium, the legacy of these early practices continued to shape the way the Space Marines replenished their ranks, ensuring that the Emperor's vision of transhuman warriors would endure the test of time. The recruitment of humanity's finest into the ranks of the Legiones Astartes was not an arbitrary decision, but a calculated necessity rooted in the galaxy's harsh realities and the Emperor's grand vision for unifying mankind. The early Imperium was a fractured and dangerous place, with threats looming from every corner. It was a time of chaos, war, and fragmentation, where humanity teetered on the brink of annihilation. The Emperor's ambition to reunite the scattered human colonies and establish dominion over the stars required warriors of unmatched capability, soldiers who could endure the hardships of interstellar conquest and face the galaxy's countless horrors without faltering. During the Age of Strife, long before the Emperor launched the Great Crusade, humanity's vast interstellar empire had crumbled into ruin. Isolated colonies, once bound by the warp lanes of the golden age of technology, were left to fend for themselves. Many fell prey to hostile alien species, descended into barbarism, or succumbed to the influence of malevolent warp entities. The galaxy became a patchwork of warring factions, with many human worlds locked in endless conflict or ruled by tyrannical warlords. The fragmented state of mankind was one of vulnerability, and the Emperor understood that a unified and resilient Imperium could only be forged through overwhelming strength. Ordinary human armies, while capable in their own right, were not sufficient to meet the challenges of galactic conquest. The enemies of mankind were too numerous, too powerful, and too unrelenting. The Orcs, with their endless hordes and insatiable appetite for war, could overwhelm even the most disciplined mortal soldiers. The ancient and enigmatic Xenos empires, such as the Eldar, wielded technologies and psychic powers far beyond human comprehension. Beyond these external threats, the Warp's influence loomed large, manifesting in demonic incursions and corrupting the minds of the weak. Against such foes, mere humans were often powerless. The Emperor had already demonstrated the potential of genetically augmented warriors during the unification wars on Terra. His Thunder Warriors were the precursors to the Legionnaires Astartes, towering brutes engineered to crush the techno-barbarian warlords who ruled the planet. While these warriors were brutally effective, they were ultimately flawed, their genetic enhancements prone to instability and degeneration. Recognizing the need for a more stable and enduring solution, the Emperor turned to his mastery of genetic engineering to create the next generation of transhuman warriors. The Legionnaires Astartes were designed to embody perfection in every sense of the word. They were faster, stronger, and more resilient than the Thunder Warriors, with genetic enhancements that allowed them to survive conditions that would kill an ordinary human. They possessed the mental fortitude to resist fear, the tactical acumen to outthink any opponent, and the unyielding loyalty necessary to serve as the Emperor's vanguard in the Great Crusade. But such warriors could not be mass-produced in the manner of conventional troops. Their creation required a meticulous and labor-intensive process, beginning with the selection of recruits who could withstand the grueling transformation into superhuman soldiers. The need for recruits stemmed from more than just the desire to create an elite fighting force. It was also a practical consideration. The Legiones Astartes were not immortal. They could be killed in battle, and the attrition rate during the Great Crusade was staggering. Every campaign, every battle saw countless Space Marines fall in the name of the Emperor's vision. Replenishing their numbers was an ongoing necessity, and the recruitment process was designed to ensure that only the strongest and most capable individuals were inducted into the legions. This necessity was further compounded by the scale of the Great Crusade. Humanity's empire was vast, encompassing thousands of star systems, and the challenges of reconquest were immense. Entire worlds had to be brought to heel, and some campaigns required prolonged engagements against entrenched enemies. The Legiones Astartes were not a limitless resource. They had to be deployed strategically, and every loss had to be offset by new recruits. The rigorous selection and training of aspirants ensured that the legions could maintain their effectiveness despite the constant toll of war. Moreover, the Emperor understood the symbolic importance of the Space Marines. They were not merely soldiers, they were icons of humanity's potential, living proof that mankind could rise above its limitations and face the galaxy's challenges with courage and strength. Each Space Marine embodied the ideals of the Imperium, serving as a beacon of hope and a reminder of the Emperor's promise to reclaim humanity's lost glory. The process of recruitment, therefore, was not just a means to create warriors, but also a ritual of renewal, a reaffirmation of the Imperium's unyielding determination to endure and prevail. The act of recruiting and transforming ordinary humans into Space Marines was also a way to forge a deeper connection between the legions and the worlds they served. By drawing recruits from diverse environments, whether the savage tribes of feral worlds, the gang-infested slums of hive cities, or the knightly traditions of feudal societies, the legions established ties with humanity's scattered populations. These recruits carried the traditions and identities of their homeworlds into the legions, enriching their cultures and ensuring that the Legiones Astartes remained connected to the Imperium they defended. The recruitment of Space Marines was born out of necessity, driven by the harsh realities of a galaxy in turmoil and the Emperor's vision of a unified humanity. It was a process steeped in pragmatism and idealism, designed to create warriors who could not only survive the horrors of the 41st millennium, but also inspire those they fought to protect. Each recruit, each transformation, was a step toward securing the Imperium's place in a hostile universe, a testament to the resilience and determination of mankind. The recruitment and transformation of an aspirant into a Space Marine follows a precise and harrowing sequence of events. This process is meticulously crafted to ensure that only the strongest, most resilient individuals can ascend to the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. Each stage, from the initial selection to the final induction, is a test of endurance, loyalty, and raw potential, reflecting the grim nature of the Imperium and the importance of its transhuman warriors. The process begins with selection, the identification of potential candidates from the human population. The criteria for selection vary depending on the chapter's traditions and the characteristics it values most. Candidates are often chosen from environments that forge strength and resilience, such as the savage tribes of death worlds, the hardened gangs of hive cities, or the martial hierarchies of feudal societies. Scouts, serfs, or Space Marines themselves might observe these populations over months or years, searching for individuals who display exceptional physical prowess, intelligence, and willpower. Once a candidate is identified, they are subjected to a series of brutal trials designed to weed out the unworthy. These tests are unique to each chapter, often reflecting its culture and values. For instance, a chapter hailing from a harsh, icy world might force recruits to survive days in sub-zero temperatures without food or shelter. A more martial chapter might stage gladiatorial combat, where aspirants must fight one another to prove their strength and determination. These trials are not merely tests of physical capability, but also of mental fortitude. They are designed to break the weak and uncover the unyielding spirit necessary for a Space Marine. Survivors of the trials are taken to the chapter's Fortress Monastery or a similar facility, where the next stage of the process begins: initiation and conditioning. At this point, the aspirants are little more than raw material, stripped of their past lives and identities. They are subjected to rigorous training and indoctrination, designed to reshape their minds and bodies in preparation for the genetic augmentations that will follow. This training includes martial drills, survival exercises, and the study of tactics and warfare. Indoctrination ensures that their loyalty to the chapter, the Imperium, and the Emperor is absolute, erasing any lingering doubts or attachments to their previous lives. The most harrowing stage of the process is the implantation of gene seed organs, the biological transformation that makes a Space Marine more than human. This involves the surgical implantation of 19 specialized organs, each designed to enhance the recruit's physical and mental capabilities. The process is fraught with danger, as each organ must integrate perfectly with the aspirant's body. The smallest rejection or failure can lead to excruciating death. This stage is conducted under the supervision of apothecaries, the Spacemarines trained in the art of biosurgery and genetic manipulation. The implantation process occurs over months or even years, with each organ introduced in a specific sequence. The first organs, such as the secondary heart and os medulla, lay the foundation for the recruit's transformation, enhancing their endurance and strengthening their skeleton. Later implants, like the multi-lung and Lyman's ear, grant abilities that would be impossible for a normal human, such as surviving in toxic atmospheres or detecting faint sounds in battle. The black carapace, the final implant, allows the Space Marine to interface directly with their power armor, completing their metamorphosis into a transhuman warrior. During this period, the recruits are also subjected to intense combat training and hypno-indoctrination. The former hones their skills with a variety of weapons and tactics, ensuring they can excel in any battlefield scenario. The latter uses advanced neural programming to implant knowledge directly into their minds, teaching them languages, strategic principles, and the history of the Imperium. This hypnotherapy also reinforces their loyalty and suppresses any lingering fear or hesitation. As the aspirants near the completion of their transformation, they must pass a series of final trials to prove their worth. These trials often involve live combat, either against deadly Xenos threats or in simulated battle scenarios designed to push them to their limits. Failure at this stage, whether due to death or an inability to perform, results in the aspirant being discarded. Some chapters honor the fallen recruits as martyrs, while others see them as unworthy and dispose of them without ceremony. Those who survive the final trials are ceremonially inducted into the chapter, receiving their power armor, bolter, and other war gear. This moment marks their ascension to the rank of a full battle brother, a culmination of years of pain, sacrifice, and transformation. They are welcomed into the brotherhood of their chapter, bound by shared trials and a common purpose, to serve as the Emperor's angels of death. Yet, even after induction, the process is not truly complete. Newly minted Space Marines, often referred to as neophytes, must prove themselves in battle before they are fully accepted into the ranks of their chapter. They may be assigned to scout roles, where they learn the arts of reconnaissance and guerrilla warfare while honing their skills in the field. Only after years of service and countless battles will they earn the right to fight alongside the veterans of their chapter, cementing their place as warriors of the Adeptus Astartes. The timeline of recruitment, from initial selection to full induction, is a journey of immense hardship and transformation. It is a process that reflects the harsh realities of the Imperium and the unyielding demands placed upon its defenders. Each Space Marine is a testament to the resilience of humanity, forged in the fires of trial and sacrifice to stand against the galaxy's endless horrors. The journey of becoming a Space Marine is filled with pivotal moments, each one acting as a razor's edge where an aspirant's fate is decided. These moments are designed to test the limits of human potential, filtering out the weak and unworthy at every stage. It is within these turning points that the essence of a true Astartes is revealed, a combination of physical prowess, mental fortitude, and an unbreakable will to serve. The factors determining whether a recruit succeeds or fails are as varied as the challenges themselves, reflecting the brutal nature of the galaxy and the immense demands of the Adeptus Astartes. One of the earliest and most decisive turning points is the physical screening process. Even before trials begin, aspirants must demonstrate exceptional physical capability. This is not merely about raw strength, but about endurance, reflexes, and adaptability. A potential recruit may be required to survive extreme environments for days, climb treacherous mountains without equipment, or outrun seasoned warriors over brutal terrain. A single moment of hesitation, A lapse in stamina or a failure to adapt can spell immediate disqualification or death. These early tests eliminate those who lack the fundamental traits necessary for survival in the galaxy's harshest conditions. Another critical factor is genetic compatibility. The gene seed, the cornerstone of a Space Marine's transformation, cannot bond with just anyone. Potential recruits are subjected to rigorous genetic analysis to determine whether their bodies can withstand the implantation of the Astartes organs. This process is perhaps the most indiscriminate test of all. A recruit could display unmatched strength and willpower, yet if their genetic structure is flawed, they are deemed unsuitable. Chapters with strained gene seed stocks face an even harsher dilemma as their pool of compatible recruits dwindles over time. The trials of survival in combat represent a major turning point in an aspirant's path. Each chapter tailors these trials to reflect its traditions and homeworld's unique conditions. A young recruit might be thrown into the wilderness with nothing but a blade, tasked with hunting down a deadly predator or surviving against the elements. In some cases, the trial is far more personal, requiring the aspirant to fight their own kin or comrades to prove their worth. These moments often reveal more than strength. They uncover a recruit's ability to persevere in the face of impossible odds. It is not uncommon for an aspirant to triumph not through sheer power, but through cunning, resourcefulness, or sheer determination, earning their place in the chapter. One of the most intense turning points comes during the implantation process, where aspirants undergo surgery to receive the gene seed's organs. Each implant is a test in itself, demanding the recruit's body to adapt to the foreign biological structures being integrated into their system. Reactions vary widely. Some aspirants survive the process with relative ease, while others experience excruciating pain, their bodies fighting against the transformation. Each successful implantation is a small victory, but the failure of even a single organ can lead to death or permanent rejection from the chapter. For many, this is the true trial of their worth, whether their body and mind can endure the agony of becoming more than human. Beyond the physical, mental resilience is a decisive factor. The training and indoctrination recruits undergo are designed not just to educate, but to break them, reforming their minds to align with the chapter's ideals and the Imperium's doctrine. Recruits are exposed to simulated battles, horrifying visions of the galaxy's dangers, and relentless drills that test their ability to remain focused under pressure. They must prove they can endure the psychological toll of constant warfare, resisting fear, despair, and doubt. A single moment of hesitation in these trials can mark a recruit as unworthy, their inability to suppress human frailty sealing their fate. A particularly brutal turning point is the final trial, often unique to each chapter. These trials are legendary, serving as the ultimate test of an aspirant's character and potential. A recruit might be tasked with recovering a relic from an ancient battlefield, navigating a labyrinth filled with deadly traps, or fighting off waves of enemies without rest. Some chapters, such as those from Death Worlds, may demand feats of survival against both nature and hostile creatures, while others emphasize teamwork, forcing recruits to overcome challenges together. Failure at this stage is not merely a rejection, but a condemnation, as it proves the aspirant lacks what is necessary to stand among the Emperor's chosen. A less obvious but equally critical turning point is the recruit's ability to integrate into the chapter's culture and brotherhood. The transformation into a Space Marine is not just physical but deeply spiritual, requiring aspirants to abandon their old identities and fully embrace their new role. Recruits who cling to their past, question the chapter's ways, or fail to build bonds with their fellow initiates often find themselves ostracized, or worse. The ability to submit fully to the chapter's ethos is a measure of loyalty, and those who cannot are swiftly removed, ensuring no seeds of discord can grow within the Brotherhood. Finally, a subtle but essential factor lies in the aspirant's reaction to power. As they undergo their transformation, gaining abilities far beyond those of normal humans, they must demonstrate humility and discipline. The gift of becoming a Space Marine is a burden as much as it is a blessing, and any sign of arrogance, cruelty, or misuse of strength is viewed with suspicion. Chapters are vigilant against recruits who show signs of hubris or lack of control, as such traits could lead to corruption or failure in the future. Each of these turning points serves a purpose, ensuring that only the most exceptional individuals ascend to the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. They are not merely tests of skill, but of the essence of the recruit's character, a crucible that forges warriors capable of standing against the horrors of the galaxy. In these moments, the future of the recruit is decided, as is the strength of the chapter and the survival of the Imperium itself. For those who endure the grueling trials and emerge victorious, the transformation into a Space Marine is both a triumph and a profound burden. They are no longer human in the traditional sense, their bodies and minds reshaped to become tools of war. This elevation brings both glory and sacrifice, as the life they once knew is utterly erased. On the other hand, for those who fail, whether through death, rejection, or physical incompatibility, the consequences are equally significant, a stark reflection of the grim nature of the Imperium. For the few who succeed, the consequences are immediate and absolute. Their old identity, connections, and memories are effectively severed. They are reborn as members of their chapter, their individuality subsumed into the collective purpose of the Adeptus Astartes. This rebirth comes with immense physical and mental changes. Their bodies are enhanced to the peak of human capability, granting them superhuman strength, speed, and resilience. They can shrug off injuries that would cripple or kill a normal human, endure toxic environments, and operate for days without rest or sustenance. However, this newfound power comes at a cost. The biological enhancements and hypno-indoctrination erode many aspects of their humanity. Their emotions become muted, their capacity for fear and hesitation diminished. While this makes them exceptional warriors, it also distances them from the human populations they protect. To a Space Marine, ordinary humans often seem fragile, irrational, or inconsequential, a necessary but distant part of the Imperium they serve. This disconnect fosters a sense of isolation, as they no longer belong to the world they were once part of. The successful recruit's life becomes one of unending duty. They are bound to their chapter and the Imperium, their existence defined by warfare and service. Every aspect of their life is regimented, from their training and maintenance rituals to their time spent in battle. There is little room for personal ambition or deviation from their assigned role. This sense of duty is reinforced by the chapter's culture and traditions, which emphasize loyalty, self-sacrifice, and the importance of serving a cause greater than oneself. For many, this transformation is a source of pride, a testament to their strength and purpose, but it is also a heavy burden, as they must endure centuries of conflict in a galaxy rife with suffering and despair. For those who fail the recruitment process, the consequences vary depending on the stage at which they are eliminated and the traditions of the chapter. In many cases, failure means death. The trials are designed to push recruits to their absolute limits, and those who falter often succumb to the harsh conditions, injuries, or combat scenarios. Death during the trials is seen as a natural outcome, a necessary sacrifice to ensure only the strongest rise to the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. These deaths are not mourned but accepted as part of the grim reality of the Imperium. Some aspirants, however, survive their failure. Those who are rejected during the early stages of the selection process may be returned to their homeworlds, often scarred by the experience, but with a heightened sense of purpose. These individuals might go on to become leaders, warriors, or champions among their people, their brief brush with the Astartes leaving them with a deeper understanding of the Imperium's demands. In rare cases, such individuals may even become valuable allies to the chapter, serving as informants, envoys, or intermediaries between the Space Marines and the wider human population. For recruits who fail during the implantation process, the consequences are often more severe. Many die as their bodies reject the gene seed organs or succumb to the immense strain of the surgeries. Those who survive but are deemed unfit to continue are often given the option to serve the chapter in other capacities. They may become chapter serfs, tasked with maintaining the fortress monastery, repairing equipment, or performing other essential duties. While this role is far removed from the glory of being a Space Marine, it is still considered an honor, as they are allowed to remain in service to the chapter and the Emperor. A rarer but darker fate awaits those who fail the psychological or spiritual trials. Recruits who exhibit signs of instability, corruption, or disloyalty are often dealt with harshly. In a galaxy where even the slightest deviation can lead to heresy or chaos taint, there is no room for compromise. Such individuals may be executed outright, their potential threat eliminated before it can manifest. In some cases, chapters with a pragmatic approach might use these failed aspirants as expendable assets, sending them on suicide missions or deploying them in ways that benefit the chapter while minimizing risk. For both those who succeed and those who fail, the consequences of the recruitment process are profound, shaping their destinies in ways that reflect the grim nature of the Imperium. Success brings power, purpose, and a lifetime of service, but it also demands the sacrifice of one's humanity and individuality. Failure, on the other hand, often means death or a life of servitude, with only the faintest chance of redemption. In the end, the recruitment process is a microcosm of the Imperium itself, unforgiving, brutal, and defined by an unwavering focus on survival and strength. The recruitment process for Space Marines is a testament to the Imperium's mastery of bioengineering, warfare, and psychological conditioning. It relies on an intricate blend of ancient technologies, advanced medical techniques, and time-honored tactics, all honed over millennia to ensure only the most exceptional individuals are inducted into the Adeptus Astartes. These tools and methods are not only practical, but deeply symbolic, reinforcing the sacred nature of the process and the transformative journey of the recruits. One of the cornerstone technologies employed during recruitment is the gene seed implantation system. The creation of Space Marines hinges on the successful integration of 19 specialized organs, each derived from the gene seed of their progenitors. This process begins with the extraction and cultivation of gene seed tissue, a task performed by the apothecaries of the chapter. These genetic materials are stored in stasis chambers within the fortress monasteries, safeguarded against contamination or decay. The implantation surgeries themselves are highly precise and require advanced surgical tools, including auto-suture devices, nutrient injectors, and organ stimulators. These tools ensure that each implant is positioned correctly and activated at the appropriate time, allowing the recruit's body to gradually adapt to its new capabilities. The medical technologies used extend beyond surgical equipment. Recruits are subjected to a regimen of chemical and hormonal treatments designed to enhance their physical endurance and prepare their bodies for the transformative process. Nutrient-rich infusions, growth accelerators, and metabolic enhancers are administered to strengthen the aspirant's skeletal and muscular systems. These treatments also act as pain suppressants, allowing recruits to endure the excruciating procedures without succumbing to shock or failure. Additionally, diagnostic tools such as gene scanners and neural mapping devices are used to monitor the recruit's progress, identifying any signs of rejection or instability before they become fatal. Beyond medical technologies, the psychological conditioning of recruits is facilitated by hypno-indoctrination systems. These devices utilize neural reprogramming techniques to implant knowledge, skills, and values directly into the aspirant's mind. Advanced cogitators, paired with mnemonic transmitters, are employed to embed tactical doctrines, historical records, and even combat maneuvers into the recruit's subconscious. This process also reinforces their loyalty to the chapter and the Emperor, eradicating doubts and instilling an unwavering sense of purpose. Hypno-indoctrination is often accompanied by sensory deprivation chambers and hollow vision relays, which immerse recruits in simulations designed to test their psychological resilience and sharpen their mental acuity. The tactical methods used during recruitment are equally sophisticated, reflecting the diverse traditions of the chapters. One of the most common techniques is the trial by combat, a method that combines physical evaluation with real-time tactical assessment. Recruits are placed in controlled environments, whether arenas, labyrinthine structures, or natural landscapes, where they must navigate complex challenges. These scenarios often incorporate holoprojectors and servo-controlled obstacles to simulate battlefield conditions. Some chapters use live ammunition or real combatants, including wild predators or servitor drones, to add an element of genuine danger. Another notable tactic is the survival trial, where recruits are abandoned in hostile environments and left to fend for themselves. These trials rely on a combination of natural hazards and technological monitoring to evaluate the aspirants. Orbital auspex systems, servo skulls, and drone-mounted pict recorders track the recruits' progress, capturing data on their decision-making, endurance, and adaptability. In some cases, the environment itself is manipulated, with climate control mechanisms or automated predator releases designed to escalate the trial's difficulty. The survival trial is not only a test of physical resilience, but also an opportunity to assess the aspirant's capacity for leadership and problem-solving under pressure. The use of simulated combat scenarios represents another advanced tactic in recruitment. These scenarios are often conducted within specialized training facilities equipped with hololithic projectors, auto turrets, and servitor-controlled enemies. Recruits are placed in these simulations to test their combat skills, strategic thinking, and ability to operate within a team. The simulations can replicate a wide range of environments, from urban battlefields to alien landscapes, allowing the chapter to evaluate the aspirant's versatility. Data collected from these simulations is analyzed by chapter strategists, who use the results to identify the recruit's strengths and weaknesses. A less visible but equally critical technology is the neurological monitoring system, which tracks the mental state of recruits throughout their training. These systems employ cranial implants and biometric sensors to measure brain activity, stress levels, and emotional responses. Recruits who exhibit signs of fear, hesitation, or instability are flagged for additional evaluation or immediate dismissal. This constant monitoring ensures that only those with the mental resilience required for the Adeptus Astartes proceed to the final stages of recruitment. Finally, the integration of ritualistic practices and sacred relics adds a spiritual dimension to the recruitment process. Many chapters incorporate ancient devices or artifacts into their trials, imbuing the proceedings with a sense of reverence. For example, recruits might be tasked with retrieving relics from a sacred site or proving their worth before a totemic symbol of the chapter's heritage. These practices serve to reinforce the aspirant's connection to the chapter's legacy and instill a sense of sacred duty. The combination of advanced technologies and time-honored tactics reflects the unique nature of Space Marine recruitment. It is a process that merges the scientific and the spiritual, the practical and the symbolic, ensuring that each recruit is not only a warrior, but a living embodiment of the chapter's ideals. By leveraging these tools and methods, the Adeptus Astartes ensure that their ranks remain unbreakable, ready to face the endless challenges of the galaxy. Throughout the history of the Adeptus Astartes, certain figures have played pivotal roles in shaping and refining the process of recruiting and transforming ordinary humans into Space Marines. These individuals, often masters of their craft, combined scientific brilliance, military strategy, and unyielding devotion to the Emperor to ensure the success of the Legiones Astartes. Their contributions have become legendary within their chapters, and their methods have influenced recruitment practices across the Imperium. One of the most influential figures in the development of recruitment was Aemilior Malthus, a bioengineering savant who served during the early years of the Great Crusade. Malthus was instrumental in perfecting the surgical implantation procedures for the gene seed organs. His pioneering work on cellular bonding and organ compatibility significantly reduced the mortality rate among recruits during the transformation process. Malthus also developed the first iteration of the auto-surgical servitor arrays, which allowed apothecaries to perform complex gene seed implantation procedures with unparalleled precision. His methods became the foundation for the biosurgical practices used by all chapters, ensuring that the transformation into a Space Marine could be carried out reliably, even under battlefield conditions. Another key figure was Iona Hestevar, a renowned logistician and tactician whose efforts streamlined the selection process for recruits. Hestevar's expertise lay in identifying potential aspirants from diverse and often isolated populations across the galaxy. She developed a system of genetic screening protocols that allowed chapters to evaluate entire planetary populations efficiently, ensuring they could locate individuals with the highest likelihood of compatibility. Her innovations included the use of portable gene scanners and biodrones, which became essential tools for recruitment teams operating in remote or hostile environments. Hestevar's contributions were particularly valuable during the expansion of the Great Crusade, where the demand for new recruits was at its peak. In the realm of training and indoctrination, Gaius Varin, a legendary chaplain of the Ultramarines, played a significant role in refining the psychological conditioning of recruits. Varin was a master orator and a deeply spiritual leader who understood the importance of instilling unwavering loyalty and resolve in recruits. He authored the Codex Animus, a collection of teachings and exercises designed to strengthen the mental fortitude of aspirants. These teachings emphasize discipline, self-sacrifice, and the rejection of fear, providing a framework for the hypno-indoctrination systems used by chapters. Varin's methods ensured that recruits not only survived the transformation process, but also emerged as steadfast defenders of the Emperor's will. In the darker corners of the recruitment process, Malachar Drenos, an apothecary of the Raven Guard, made controversial contributions that nonetheless proved invaluable. Drenos specialized in extracting gene seed from fallen Space Marines and refining it for reuse in future generations. His techniques involved the use of advanced alchemical processes and biofiltration systems, allowing even damaged gene seed to be salvaged. While his methods were viewed with suspicion by some, they provided a critical lifeline for chapters with limited gene seed reserves. Drenos' work ensured that no sacrifice was wasted, and his practices were later adopted by other chapters during times of crisis. Among the most revered figures in recruitment history was Thalmos Indris, a chapter master of the Imperial Fists, known for his innovative approach to aspirant trials. Indris believed that the greatest warriors were not necessarily the strongest, but those who possessed the deepest resilience and adaptability. He introduced trials that focused on problem-solving and teamwork, forcing recruits to rely on their wits and cooperation rather than brute strength alone. These trials produced some of the most resourceful Space Marines in the chapter's history, earning Indris a reputation as a visionary leader who understood the complexities of war in the galaxy. Another notable figure was Elis Tarin, a tech marine of the Salamanders, who revolutionized the equipment used in aspirant trials. Tarin developed modular training arenas equipped with adaptive servo mechanisms and hololithic projectors, allowing trials to replicate a wide range of battlefield scenarios. His inventions allowed chapters to test recruits in dynamic and unpredictable environments, ensuring they were prepared for the chaotic nature of real combat. Tarin's contributions extended beyond recruitment. His training systems were later adopted for use in the ongoing development of veteran Space Marines, enhancing their combat readiness and tactical versatility. Lastly, Marion Velcor, a High Chaplain of the Black Templars, is remembered for her relentless pursuit of purity in the recruitment process. Velcor emphasized the spiritual aspect of becoming a Space Marine, viewing the trials as a sacred rite rather than a mere test of strength. She introduced ceremonial elements into the recruitment process, such as oaths of fealty and purification rituals, which reinforced the aspirant's connection to the chapter's traditions. Velcor's influence extended to the broader Imperium, as her writings on the spiritual transformation of recruits were adopted by several other chapters, particularly those with strong religious foundations. These individuals, each with their unique expertise and vision, shaped the recruitment practices that define the Adeptus Astartes. Their innovations ensured the survival and strength of the Space Marines, enabling them to continue their eternal vigil against the galaxy's myriad threats. Their legacies endure not only in the chapters they served, but also in the countless recruits who've been forged into the Emperor's finest warriors through the methods they pioneered. The recruitment practices of the Adeptus Astartes are often shrouded in mystery, with certain chapters employing methods that deviate from the standard rituals and procedures. These clandestine approaches are typically born of necessity, secrecy, or a desire to preserve the chapter's unique traditions. While much of what transpires behind the walls of fortress monasteries remains hidden from the wider Imperium, there are tales and whispers of recruitment practices that stray into the enigmatic, the experimental, and in some cases, the morally questionable. One of the most infamous examples involves the Blood Ravens, whose recruitment methods are veiled in secrecy due to their chapter's enigmatic origins and the unexplained psychic tendencies among their ranks. It is said that their librarians play a significant role in selecting aspirants, using psychic foresight and probing the warp to identify individuals with latent potential. This method of selection is highly controversial as it risks exposure to the corrupting influence of chaos. However, the Blood Raven's continued success suggests that this practice, though perilous, has proven effective. The true details of these psychic evaluations are known only to the chapter's inner circle, fueling speculation and suspicion among other Space Marines. The Dark Angels, often criticized for their obsession with secrecy, are also rumored to use covert methods to replenish their ranks. In addition to recruiting from their feudal homeworld of Caliban's successors, it is said they maintain hidden ties to specific human populations scattered across the Imperium. These populations, allegedly descendants of loyalists who aided the chapter in past conflicts, are carefully monitored over generations. From these secretive enclaves, potential recruits are drawn without the knowledge of the wider Imperium, ensuring a steady stream of aspirants while preserving the chapter's clandestine networks. In some chapters, the extraction of recruits from forbidden or condemned worlds is a poorly kept secret. Certain death worlds, hive cities, or penal colonies are officially deemed too dangerous or unstable to supply recruits. Yet, there are accounts of Space Marine chapters conducting clandestine operations to harvest candidates from these forbidden locations. The logic is simple. Such environments produce individuals of unparalleled toughness and survival instincts. The Salamanders, for example, are rumored to draw recruits from volcanic worlds deemed uninhabitable by Imperial authorities, using these extreme conditions to find aspirants capable of enduring their chapter's brutal trials. There are also stories of unsanctioned experimentation tied to chapters facing dire circumstances, such as severe losses in battle or degradation of their gene seed stock. Some apothecaries, desperate to maintain their chapter's numbers, have turned to radical genetic engineering to expand the pool of potential recruits. This includes modifying the gene seed to bond with individuals who would otherwise be deemed incompatible, or using advanced bioalchemy to artificially enhance aspirants' resilience. Such practices are highly controversial and, if discovered, could bring the wrath of the Inquisition upon the chapter. However, for chapters on the brink of extinction, these secret measures may represent the only path to survival. Another shadowy practice involves the forced conscription of aspirants from conquered worlds. While most chapters honor the tradition of selecting willing candidates, there are reports of aspirants being forcibly taken from their homes, often under the cover of darkness or during planetary purges. These recruits are subjected to the same rigorous trials as volunteers, but their origins are kept secret from the rest of the chapter. This practice is particularly associated with chapters that operate in isolated regions of the galaxy, where loyalty to the Imperium may be tenuous, and the need for new recruits outweighs concerns of moral rectitude. The Black Templars, a chapter known for their relentless zeal, are said to employ another unorthodox method: mass recruitment during their crusades. Unlike most chapters, which carefully select a few aspirants at a time, the Black Templars are rumored to conscript entire groups of young warriors from the worlds they liberate. These aspirants are then subjected to brutal trials en masse, with the majority perishing in the process. This approach ensures a steady influx of recruits, but raises questions about the sustainability of such tactics, as it can deplete entire populations of their most promising individuals. Perhaps the most unsettling rumors concern bargains made with unsanctioned psychers or rogue scholars to identify recruits with hidden potential. In the shadowy corners of the Imperium, where oversight is weak, some chapters are alleged to have employed individuals with arcane knowledge or unique gifts to uncover aspirants overlooked by traditional methods. These individuals, often operating outside the boundaries of Imperial law, may use forbidden technologies or psychic techniques to locate potential recruits. While such actions are strictly forbidden, the desperate need for warriors in the endless war against humanity's enemies can drive even the most pious chapters to questionable lengths. Finally, there is the matter of gene seed experimentation within the warp-tainted regions of the galaxy. While no chapter would openly admit to such practices, there are persistent rumors that some have ventured into warp-ravaged systems to recover lost gene seed or test the resilience of recruits in areas heavily influenced by chaos. These experiments are highly dangerous, not only for the aspirants, but also for the chapter itself, as prolonged exposure to the warp can lead to corruption or contamination. Yet, the promise of recovering lost knowledge or bolstering a failing chapter's strength may outweigh the risks in the eyes of certain leaders. These secretive and unconventional methods are a stark reminder of the desperate times faced by the Adeptus Astartes. While the Codex Astartes and the traditions of the Imperium demand rigid adherence to established practices, the galaxy's unrelenting dangers often force chapters to operate in the shadows, taking risks and making sacrifices to preserve their strength. Whether these methods are justified or reckless depends on perspective, but they underscore the lengths to which humanity's defenders will go to ensure their survival in a hostile universe. The recruitment process for the Adeptus Astartes, whether executed through traditional rites or shrouded in secrecy, embodies the unyielding determination of the Imperium to endure in a galaxy fraught with peril. Each aspirant's journey is a microcosm of the greater struggles faced by humanity: sacrifice, transformation, and the relentless pursuit of survival against overwhelming odds. Yet, the consequences of this process extend far beyond the individuals who succeed or fail. It shapes not only the chapters themselves, but also the worlds and people they touch. For the chapters, every successful recruit is a victory against entropy, a reinforcement of their sacred mission to serve as the Emperor's angels of death. Yet, the cost of maintaining these ranks is immense. For every warrior who ascends to the rank of battle brother, countless others perish in trials or die under the surgeon's blade. The sheer brutality of the recruitment process serves as a reminder of the Imperium's motto: survival is bought with blood, and the price of weakness is extinction. Even for those who succeed, the transformation is not without cost. These warriors are no longer human, but something greater and something less. Stripped of their individuality, their humanity, and often their sense of self, they become weapons in the Emperor's arsenal, capable of incredible feats, but forever disconnected from the world they protect. For the recruits who fail, the consequences vary widely, but are often no less profound. Many die, their remains reclaimed by the chapter to fuel its forges or enrich its gene seed reserves. Others, rejected but alive, carry the scars of their trials for the rest of their lives. Some find purpose as chapter serfs, dedicating themselves to maintaining the fortress monastery, its war machines, and its sacred relics. A few, particularly those who survive initial trials but fail to endure the transformation, return to their worlds, often as local legends or leaders, their brief brush with the Astartes elevating their status among their people. The ripple effects of the recruitment process also extend to the worlds from which the aspirants are drawn. For many planets, the presence of a Space Marine chapter is both a blessing and a burden. To be chosen as a recruitment world brings prestige, elevating the planet's status within the Imperium. Entire cultures often develop around the honor of producing candidates for the Adeptus Astartes, with local traditions aligning themselves to the values of the chapter. However, this privilege comes with a heavy toll. The constant demand for recruits can strip a population of its strongest and brightest, leaving behind societies that struggle to rebuild. On more primitive worlds, the loss of tribal leaders or champions to recruitment can spark political instability or even collapse. The long-term consequences of Space Marine recruitment extend to the Imperium at large. The relentless drive to maintain the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes reflects the broader reality of humanity's struggle for survival in the 41st millennium. The Imperium is a vast, crumbling edifice held together by sacrifice, and the Space Marines are its keystone. Without them, the Imperium would fall to the galaxy's countless threats, from the mindless hunger of the Tyranids to the insidious corruption of chaos. The success of the recruitment process, brutal though it is, ensures that the Emperor's dream of unity and survival endures, however precariously. Yet, questions remain about the sustainability of this process. Chapters with dwindling gene seed reserves face an ever-increasing challenge in maintaining their numbers, while others are forced to rely on more extreme or experimental methods to replenish their ranks. The moral and ethical implications of some recruitment practices, particularly those involving secrecy or coercion, also cast a shadow over the chapter's legacy. As the galaxy grows darker and the Imperium's enemies grow stronger, the lengths to which the Adeptus Astartes will go to preserve their strength will only deepen, raising the question of whether even they can endure the pressures of an unending war. Ultimately, the story of Space Marine recruitment is one of resilience, sacrifice, and transformation. It is a reflection of the Imperium itself, a civilization willing to pay any price to survive in a galaxy defined by despair. Every aspirant, whether they succeed or fail, contributes to this unyielding effort, their lives woven into the fabric of the Emperor's vision. The process may be harsh, even cruel, but it is also necessary, a grim testament to the realities of the 41st millennium. Through this crucible, the Adeptus Astartes are forged, and through them, humanity's flame endures. As the endless war continues and new aspirants step forward, the legacy of this process will remain a cornerstone of the Imperium. The Space Marines are not merely warriors, but symbols of humanity's will to defy the odds, to stand against the darkness, and to protect the fragile light of hope in a galaxy consumed by chaos. Their recruitment, their transformation, and their service embody the Imperium's motto. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, and the unwavering resolve to survive it.